What's up everyone, I'm IAMOBG for tastingskills.com. Welcome back to another video. Today we're talking about Delirium Tremens. This is the barrel aged one, but before we get into that, let's talk about the actual term Delirium Tremens. So what is it? Well, it's basically alcohol withdrawal, and it's not a pretty sight. Now, all that said, delirium tremens is a serious condition, and as an educator of alcohol, I can tell you I always put resources at the bottom so that if you have alcohol issues, there's nothing to be ashamed of. This is not the goal. The goal is to get help. And the last thing that I want to see is people having delirium tremens itself. Now, let's talk a little bit about the brewery. For starters, it does say that it's established in 1654, but that's actually a brewery location that's been the same there since 1654. And this brewery was actually established in 1902, and the beer itself, Delirium Tremens, did not come out since 1988. And from there, it basically caught on fire. Now, there's an elephant on here, and it's usually a pink elephant, and why is that? Well, one of the symptoms of delirium tremens is hallucination, and the pink elephant has been a symbol of that for a very long time. All right, now let's get to the technical of the three beers that I have. Starting with, of course, the classic Delirium Tremens Strong Blonde. This has an ABV of 8.5, and this has an IBU of 24.5. Then we have Delirium Tremens Belgian Ale with cherries and elderberries. This has an ABV of 8% and an IBU of 20. And finally, the one that everybody is trying to find, is impossible to get, the Delirium Tremens Black Ale Aged in Bourbon Barrel Limited Edition 2020. Now this beer has been aged for 9 months in bourbon barrels, and the ABV is 11.5. Now when we look at the packaging of this is just classic. I mean, their classic ceramic style bottle, just iconic. The foil is always amazing on here. I mean, this is just quality. These are true classic beers. If you're trying to seek out basically the classics of all beers, Delirium Tremens is a reference point. Now, what do I think about the tastings and how good are they? Well, before that, do you want to taste like a pro? Head over to tastingskills.com, put your name and email into the magical yellow box, and I will send you my free 17-page guide to the fundamentals of tasting. But not only that, if you'd like to get a sober hat or a nice sober t-shirt so you could be as sexy as I am, then you could also head over to tastingskills.com, and in the shop right there when you're checking out, put the code IAMOBG and shipping will be free. All right, now let's get to those tasting notes. Starting with the Delirium Tremens Belgian Ale Strong Blonde. The color, classic gold color with a nice thick foamy head on this beer. On the nose, you get this beautiful malty nose, yeasty, and these delicate bananas, yellow cherries. This is just beautiful. On the mouthfeel, you get this beautiful maltiness that just delivers layers upon layers of dried fruit, and the acidity drives this never-ending finish of maltiness that keeps on coming back for more. Now, if you haven't had this beer, it's a must. Like I said earlier, this beer has been around since '88, but it caught on fire and basically has destroyed the world since then. This is an absolute classic. Let's move on to the Delirium Tremens Belgian Ale with cherries and elderberries. The color, you get this beautiful dark pink with some nice bubbles. On the nose, an explosion of cassis, elderberry, raspberry, currant, blackberry, cherries that are jammy and baked into this thick layer of fruitiness. The cherries are just so powerful on this nose, and it just fills the room. On the mouthfeel, classic cassis, cherries, raspberries, again super jammy, and this beautiful acidity that delivers endless layers, but this isn't sweet. It's full of dried and delicate, these thick red fruit that give you a never-ending finish. This is so good. The layers on here are just never-ending. The fruitiness, the cherries, the jamminess, and it just keeps on giving. This is just so good. If you're trying to find a super good quality cherry, fruit, elderberry, raspberry, jammy beer, this is it. This is a true reference point. Really impressed with this beer. All right, let's move on to the one that everybody is trying to find, which is Delirium Black Ale Aged in Bourbon Barrel, limited edition 2020. Now, on the color, of course you get this beautiful brown to light brown rim with a nice foamy head once again. On the nose, brown sugar, violets, chocolate, caramel. This nose is very subtle. On the mouthfeel, it delivers layers of bourbon that are mixed with the chocolate, coffee, and the alcohol is very present. But this isn't over the top for this kind of beer. The finish is all maltiness. Then the bourbon barrel turns and gives you this never-ending acidity for a super long time. Really impressed with this beer. I mean, it's still a classic Delirium beer, but the crazy part is that this is subtle, it's a drinker, and there's a lot of bourbon on here, and I'm sure as this beer gets older and it ages, it's just gonna get better. Now, let's do a quick recap of what you should buy and what you should pass, starting with the classic Delirium Tremens Strong Belgian Ale. This is an absolute classic. You should find this if you haven't had it already. It's a must. There's nothing else to say. Then we have the Delirium Tremens Cherry and Elderberry. This, again, a true classic beer. It's also a must. I would seek this one out. So good. And finally, the barrel aged one. This one was just a super good classic Delirium beer that was well aged in quality bourbon barrels. I'm really in love with this, and this is an absolute collector. If you can find these, you should seek them out. You should buy as much as you can. I would open one every year to see how it evolves over time, because right now it's such a drinker, but I'm interested to see how it's gonna get as it gets older, since I did buy more than one bottle. All right, once again, there's links to the history of this brewery. There's also help if you do have a drinking problem. I've put the link also to Delirium Tremens, the conditions, and so on. But all that said, thanks for watching. IAMOBG for tastingskills.com. Please remember to smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe, so go down there and click the bell. Otherwise, my friend, please remember, stay sober. Peace.